Okay. Welcome to Book Club, everyone. Salute, salute. Welcome to Book Club. Please go ahead and subscribe to our page, The Power of Consent YouTube, to update yourself with all the previous Book Club recordings and other recordings that we've put out there as well. We're reading a book called Meet Your Strawman by David E. Robinson. I was just saying, council tax webinar. We've got a council tax webinar video here for those of you that are challenging it. We don't ever refuse to pay council tax. Never refuse, never refuse. We are challenging the claim because they will come with stuff like the Local Government Act of 1992, and you can rebut that with constitutional law, which is the highest form of law in the UK, constitutional law, and it stipulates and says in the Bill of Rights 1689 that no fine, yeah, and I'm paraphrasing here, is lawful unless you are heard before a jury of your peers. So you go to a court of law. Court of law is not necessarily the magistrate court, because a magistrate court has volunteers. They don't have a law degree. Yeah. So a court of law is one where you have a judge and a jury of 12. So you challenge council tax, and if you want to know more about it, go ahead and play the video here, subscribe, follow, like, subscribe, share, all of that jazz. And we will be doing a Sinners movie decoded. And I'm looking at July. Who's seen Sinners? Who has seen it? Who has seen it? Talk to me in the chat if you've seen it. Please go ahead and watch it. Please go ahead and watch. Greetings, Carol. Please go ahead and watch Sinners, man. There's so much hidden truth in Sinners regarding law, regarding spirituality, regarding religion, regarding history. There's so much in there. Please go and watch it. Romeo, go ahead and watch it. We're going to do a decoding night of the movie called Sinners, which was directed and written by Ryan Coogler, starring the good brother Michael B. Jordan and Lindo. Oh, how could I forget brother's name? Lindo. I met the brothers from Newsham as well, man. How could I forget? You know, and so many, Wumi, so many other great cast members. Great movie. Go and watch it. There's a lot of hidden meaning, and we're going to unpack that. So we at Book Club, we was reading this segment here, an overview of the historical con job. And just to recap briefly, we learned that these people here, the Brown brothers, Harriman in New York, was funding the rise of Adolf Hitler. This is very important to understand. Yeah, this is not a conspiracy. This is not me saying this. This is actual facts. Yeah. So we discovered that bankers on both sides were funding the war, Second World War, Hitler. Hitler even had a cover spread, front cover on Time magazine in 1919. Hitler also didn't go with the private central bankers. He created his own currency for Germany, which raised Germany from the ashes. We also looked at the definition of what notional debt is. Most people haven't heard of what notional debt is. In financial instruments, notional debt refers to the face value of nominal amount used in calculations related to interest, blah, 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 blah. Please go to our actual page, and you'll see the video where we break it all down. We break it down. So we're still on the subject matter of the private central bankers, yeah, which fund most countries. We know now that there's a lot of stuff taking place in the UK. And I just want to play a couple of videos so that to lay a foundation before we actually start.
Labour are doing a
Let me know you can hear.
Job. Because obviously everyone thinks they don't have a plan. Well, I can categorically assure you they do. And it's working brilliantly for them, not for you. Labour's master plan is in full swing, and it's a blueprint for the managed decline of Britain. Do you actually think it's accidental that everything's getting worse? No.
And we broke this down. We broke this down, yeah?
We
broke this down. Keir Starmer, who really thinks Keir Starmer is running this country, who really, really believes that he is the magistrate of the United Kingdom. No, he's not. We broke it down through Book Club that Keir Starmer, there are two governments. Notice I said two governments, not two political parties. There's two political parties, and there's more political parties. There's a whole heap of them. But there's two governments. If you can put in the chat, if you know what I'm talking about when I say two governments. Who are the two governments? Not Tory and Labour. No. The two governments is the Labour Party, that is running, so-called running the UK now, but they get their orders from Where? They get their orders from the Bank of England. The Bank of England is located not in London, but the City of London. We break this down already. The City of London is a different jurisdiction. It's a country within a country, a city within a city, just like the Vatican, just like Washington, D.C. So Keir Starmer is under orders, and make no mistake, he's here to ruin the economy of the UK, woefully, deliberately.
To destroy the economy. Why? Because when you've got nothing left, you'll accept anything they offer. Higher taxes, check. More regulation, check. Wages crushed by inflation. Your energy bills through the roof, and small business.
And by the way, do you know that there's an act in the government, legislation 2000, Terrorist Act 2000, Section 15, if my memory serves me right, forgive me if I'm wrong. To those of us who are watching this on YouTube, forgive me if I'm wrong. But there is the Terrorist Act 2000, Section 15, which stipulates you should not be donating to a terrorist organization. Keir Starmer announced this week he will be spending more money on weapons, military armament. Where does he get the money? From taxes, council tax.
This is on their knees. All parts of the plan. Even the ONS, the Office for National Statistics, is flashing red. Growth projections are flatlining. Productivity is a joke, and disposable income is the lowest it's been in over a decade.
Wow.
This isn't mismanagement. This is intentional sabotage.
Listen.
They're not trying to fix the economy. They're trying to replace it with a digital-controlled, rent forever, work forever economy. Your pension eaten by inflation, your savings gone in a cost of living firestorm, inherited.
And by the way, we term this the digital straw man, because once they stop cash in circulation, cash being fiat currency, debt notes, as we break down in book club, then you're locked into the digital straw man. You can watch episodes of Black Mirror where it talks about a social credit score system, and that's where everything is en route to. But we need to learn laws, constitutional laws and legislation, so we can use it in our defense against tyranny. So we're not going to just talk about problems, but we come with solutions.
Well, they'll try and take a chunk of that too. And housing, they promised to build 1.5 million homes. Sounds great until you realise there'll be 200 square foot cardboard shoeboxes on brownfield land with no infrastructure. Designed not for families, but for control.
Listen.
So these aren't going to be homes, they're containment units, stackable, trackable, temporary, and you'll own nothing and be happy. Remember that phrase? It's in Parliament now. They're building digital ID databases, tightening rules around cash and push.
The digital straw man, we call that. Imagine you say something janky on Facebook or Instagram or social media, and the next minute, oh, I'm afraid we're going to cancel your account, and link it in with your digital finance. Oh, I'm afraid you can't use the plane, you can't use the train. You are literally in digital jail. This is what's coming. It's coming. It's here slowly, in increments, making its way to all of us, every man, woman, and child. Credit score system digitally managed. We call it the digital straw man.
For central bank digital currency, which means if you step out of line, your access to your own money can disappear faster than a Labour MP dodging a what is a woman question. Because no, they still couldn't answer that until the Supreme Court instructed them to.
Listen.
And somehow they think they can rewrite the entire economic model of Britain. Well, they are. And it's working perfectly. They want you working longer, retiring later, paying more, owning nothing, and being grateful for it. The worst part.
So we get the idea. So when we look into this book called Meet Your Straw Man, we got to understand the root of how things came to play. This is why reading is so important, and I want to thank every one of us that are here today on Book Club, here with us on YouTube, for reading along with us. It's only going to be half an hour of reading. I may play tapes here and there just so we can get deeper comprehension of what we're talking about. I'll call them the dictionary definitions. We need to understand. Malcolm X read the dictionary cover to cover when he was in prison. Hence why he was a powerful orator. Hence why he was a powerful individual who had a powerful command of the English lexicon. We must learn how to use the language well, family. Learn to use the... When these people are talking in the House of Parliament on LBC, you want to understand what they're saying. Terms like collateral damage means people dying at war. Collateral damage. There's a movie about that. So when we look at book club, now we're reading, and I'm going to slip into another video about the international bankers who absolutely control the UK, the United States of America, most of the EU countries. This is what Hitler was going against. And I want to say this, by the way, We are not giving legal advice here. That's our disclaimer. We do not give legal advice. Please go and seek legal counsel for any issues that you have. Take this information and use it as you will. Secondly, we are not praising Hitler at all. I want to make that clear. We are not praising him. We are simply studying history because the beginning of political studies, they say, is to study Hitler. That's what is taught in terms of if you want to become a politician, you've got to study Hitler. Yeah, I didn't say that. These are not my words. All right, so let's go into book club real quick, and I'm going to flip into a video that is going to break down international bankers. An overview of the historical conjure. Okay, we all agree that we're living in a conjure. If this has all been a lot of new information for you, then it might be useful for you to have a thumbnail. Sketch of the outrageous confident trick which is being played on you. So here it is for your local area. And the same situation is found in almost in, every other area as well. It all started before most people were born. It started with two brothers deciding to run a scam which would make them the richest people in the world and rig things so that everybody else worked for them without being aware of that fact. Even though they are literally brothers, in order to distinguish between them, we will call them Mr. Government and Mr. Banker. What did they say about the two ruling bodies, entities? Because that is what they needed to become in order to run this scam. Mr. Government set up a very clever system of interlocking commercial companies, choosing names. I hope everyone can see it. I'll just make it slightly bigger. Okay. I hope everyone can see. All right. Mr. Government set up a very clever system interlocking commercial companies, choosing names for them which made them look like official government bodies. Yeah, think of all the people that they say that represent government bodies, Thames Water, these so-called energy supply. Then they make the appearance that they're government bodies, but they're not. While in reality, they're just ordinary companies like high street shop. In order to strengthen the illusion, Mr. Government hires people to work for him and gives them names like Minister. Listen, MP, Minister of Parliament, Member of Parliament, excuse me, or Member of Parliament. Member, Minister, same thing, or some other meaningless working title. He employs most of them to sit around and argue with each other, and from time to time, he swaps them around by asking members of the public to vote for who will be his employees for the next few years. By the way, there's a difference between voting and electing someone. Voting is for the poor people. Electing is for those that know what time it is. There's a big difference. Also, most of those MPs, I want to let you know, a lot of them are lawyers and barristers. They studied law. Yeah, and what you're looking at when you look at the House of Parliament, which is a French word for parler, which means to speak. Parler is the French word. Yeah, they are in a courtroom. Do you appreciate that they're in a courtroom and you've got the Madam Speaker or Sir Speaker giving order? That's a courthouse where they're discussing new legislation, green paper, white paper, and they don't consult we, the people. All right, let's get into this. Okay, this is actually very clever because it makes members of the public, and we always say we've got to start living in the private. Don't just operate in your public capacity, operate in your private. Believe that their voting makes a difference. While Mr. Government knows that it doesn't as he sets, company policy. Think about it. And he makes all of the decisions, and he really couldn't care less who happened to be his employees at any given moment. Meanwhile, his brother, Mr. Bank, has set up two commercial companies. Yeah, the bank now, listen, two commercial companies of his own. One he calls the Bank of England, stay with me, or some other suitable name for his particular location. And yes, there are actually more than two brothers in this family. The other company he calls the Mint. Yeah, the Mint, they print money, we all know that. He owns both and so decides exactly what each will do. The action starts and Mr. Government needs money. Keir Starmer, Labour Party, with which to pay his employees. So he asks his brother, Mr. Banker, to provide some. This is where the fun part starts. Our trusty Mr. Banker invents the money. Remember, we broke this down, and pretends that he has plenty, although he actually has none at all. You don't have money in your bank, people. That's the one shop you can walk in to spend your fiat cash and walk out with nothing. He lends a large amount and say 1,000 to his brother, Mr. Government. This costs him nothing as it doesn't exist. We break this down. Stay with us in book club. And it is just the first step in the scam. Did I read that right? 1,000, yeah? Okay. What was that one? That's not 1 million. 1 million? 1 million. I beg your pardon. 1 million. I beg
1
your pardon.
million.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sis. His brother, Mr. Government, now says that he has a national debt, not notional. We broke down the word notional the other day, didn't we not? We broke down the word notional. Difference. Notional debt, national debt, two different things. Just keep that in mind. His brother, Mr. Government, now says that he has a national debt of 1,200,000, which will increase by 20%. Think of your mortgages, scam. 1/5 every year, if it is not paid off completely. They hate when you pay it off completely before 25 or 30 years or whatever. His cunning plan of calling it a national debt, they make money from the interest, usury, makes people think that their country owes somebody something. The reality is nobody owes anybody anything, and that includes each and every one of you listening. None of you owe anything. Good, isn't it? Very clever. Without using anything of value, the brothers have persuaded people that A, they have a government, which they don't, and B, that their country has borrowed money for essential services, and so their country is in debt to some kindly lender, which it isn't. Very slick. These brothers aren't stupid. Next, Mr. Government pays the members of his staff with pieces of paper called checks, and he sends them to his brother, Mr. Banker. Yeah, you know what checks are, promissory notes. Mr. Banker, to get those pieces of paper exchanged for money. What is the name of the constitutional law, people, where money is dealt with? Can anyone give me the name of the actual year of the actual constitutional law that deals with money and promissory notes? Can anyone tell me? No, we'll come back to that. Go and Google it if you have to. Okay. The mint, okay, here we go. The mint to print other pieces of paper called currency. Difference between money and currency, people. And he gives these out in exchange for his brother's checks, swapping pieces of paper for other pieces of paper. Piece of paper. What is the value of these pieces of paper? The cost of the paper, ink and printing. At this point, what have the brothers gained? Well, they have got a large number of people working for them, doing whatever they say, and it is costing them nothing. Yeah, the scam. Yeah, so they're going over to digital now, and that's absolutely going to cost nothing. Yeah, think about that. But that is just the first step. By the way, everyone, please use cash. Use cash as much as you can. Now, Mr. Government takes back 80% of what he paid to his employees in the form of taxation. Taxation is theft, people. Taxation is theft. After all, the country is in debt, and so Mr. Government has to take money from everybody in order to repay the country's debt, hasn't he? Why does everybody have to pay? Because his employees say so. They invent statutes. Remember, statutes, yeah, like the Local Government Finance Act. And all kinds of charges designed to move money from ordinary people into the pockets of Mr. Government, who promptly pays most of it to his brother, Mr. Banker, as the repayment of borrowing nothing and interest on the amount borrowed. All right? So we now know who runs the UK. Yeah, the bankers. Okay, you know what? Let me just show this real quick so we can have context of how powerful bankers are, right? Let's just listen to this for reference. Let me know you can hear it.
By the name of Rothschild, who claimed to be Jewish, made this statement. He really didn't care who was king or ruler as long as he controlled the finance. Rothschild had 5 sons.
Listen,
And he sent those sons into different parts of Europe.
I just want to say real quick that this man, known as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a great man, he's been banned from coming to the United Kingdom since 1984, 85. He's banned. This man has never been arrested for a traffic violation, firearms, drugs, illicit drugs, nothing. He's totally a law-abiding man. So it doesn't incite racial violence. He's not a racist. Go and listen to this man for yourself. He doesn't tell people to go out and kill people because of the color of their skin, or he doesn't tell people to go and kill people, period. He's a law-abiding man, and he's simply quoting from the speech or letter from Rothschilds. There's a whole movie on the Rothschilds. You can watch it for free on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Yes. He sent 1 son to England, 1 to France, 1 to Italy, 1 to Austria, and 1 stayed at home with the father in Germany.
Listen.
And they all became a part of the House of Rothschild, but through manipulation of money, the son in England grew up and that became the Bank of England.
Listen.
The Bank of France, the Bank of Italy, the Bank of Austria, the Bank of Germany. These were central banks that printed the money of these nations that now were in the hands of a family. Come on.
I just want to bring up a quick point. Everybody's heard, well, I think you have, I'm assuming, that they're saying that there's a new COVID variant flying around now, a new COVID variant. Yeah? Now, who benefits in lockdowns? Who benefits when people get sick? Who benefits when people have to take the jab? Who benefits? I'm not going to talk about the jab on YouTube too much, but you know, they will just absolutely stop your channel. But who benefits? The bankers benefit because they have to loan more money to business, to corporations, to government, to keep the country, the corporation running. This is how powerful these bankers are. These private central bankers. I'm not demonizing banks. I'm saying private central bankers. We need to bring private bankers back to public. They say the Bank of England is public, but it's not. They said it was ratified since 1947, 1946. Again, the years kind of slipped me. But understand who runs your country. Understand who gives the order to brother government to put 20 miles per hour on your roads. Who tells brother government to block these streets and that street. Who tells brother government to make all of these rules called statutes.
That had spread out with not the intention of doing good, right? But the intention to become manipulators and controllers of the destiny of the world and nation. Come on, come on. Go ahead. Europe had many conflicts. Yeah. And the Rothschilds would finance both sides. That's right. What you don't understand is that war is a manipulation of money.
Listen.
You think you're fighting for democracy. War to end all wars. Let peace reign in the earth.
Where's the line?
This is the tricky language that the wise and wicked use to trap the poor and the...
We spoke about language, people. That's why we're reading here. We're learning new language. You've got to learn language. It's all right to use colloquial terms, street slang, wild one, farm and all that. But we've got to learn language. Kevin Bennett, my good friend and brother, says there's 3 types of languages. There's normal, everyday language that we use, Cockney, urban, whatever slang. Then there's the second part, which is received pronunciation, RP, the King's English. Then you have a third, which is known as legalese, the language of the law society. You've got to understand words. So one word can mean three different things. One word can mean three different things. Most of us think mortgage means, oh, I'm repaying the bank. Yes, but it also means you're in a debt pledge, a death pledge. Mortgage is a French word. Mort, coming from the word mortuary, where you hold dead bodies. Gage, spoke about this last week, means you're engaged. You're in a promise, you're locked in. So a lot of us are engaged to get married, but you're not married yet. You're just locked in. So understand the language, people.
Are you listening?
This was 1995.
The Rothschild became so strong.
Listen.
Even when America was established, they kept through their agents in America trying.
Basically, America being established means the United States of America, the corporation of the United States of America. It's different from America. America and the United States of America are two different places. The United States of America is the corporation. America is the people under common law jurisdiction under the Constitution of the Founding Fathers, which they got from here. All right?
To control central bank. It hurt to read of the Civil War.
Listen.
People in the South didn't want nobody freeing the slaves. Right, that's right. I was not evil when I said that 75% of Jews own slaves. I didn't say it. You all wrote it in your history.
Right.
Now wait. If you own slaves,
listen,
and they were the bedrock of your wealth, you did not want America free. Many were at the root of the Confederacy and the Confederate flag yesterday as well as today. Abraham Lincoln was interfering with something bigger than just peace and war.
Listen, sorry I keep interrupting, but we went into book club Abraham Lincoln when he created the greenbacks. The greenbacks was a form of currency that removed power from the private central bankers. This is what the minister is speaking about here. But then what happened to Abraham Lincoln? He was assassinated by John Booth. Again, please, if I'm wrong, forgive me, by someone called Booth. Same thing with JFK Kennedy. He created a currency away from the private bankers. Then you know the story of what happened to JFK.
Rothschild, through his agents in America, financed the North and financed the South. And more lives were lost. Of poor people who are idealists.
White and black.
Thinking that they're fighting for these noble principles. And all at the same time, you're making the rich richer, but they're enriched at the price of your blood. And the blood of your children and the blood of your children's children. Go ahead.
So real quick, Keir Starmer's talking this week about buying weapons of war. What are they preparing for? Many innocent lives to be lost. Who is Keir Starmer working for? The armies are working for the private central bankers. You're not fighting for king and country. You're fighting for private bankers.
See, brothers and sisters, look. There are many people in the country that know this. Right. Come on. Yes, sir. But they don't have the voice of the poor. Right. What makes it so dangerous for me to know it and even say it is because I have the voice and the ear.
We've got to find our voice.
Poor people. And once you know the truth,
come on now,
it's very difficult for you to go back into your sleep.
Wake up.
So naturally, to say these things, it puts the spokesperson
Yep.
at great risk. Because America has been built on your backs. Right, right. And if any truth comes to remove you, that's like somebody creating an earthquake. You see a beautiful building, but when the earth under it shakes, the walls come down.
All right, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. We're gonna stop it there. I just wanted to give some reference to what we are reading in terms of Meet Your Strawman book, and it absolutely backs up that video we saw just there by the minister, backs up everything we're reading. This is not a black thing and a white thing. This is a people thing. The minister said people die in wars. That's black people, white people, brown people, Asian people. Dying for who? Brother Banker, Mr. Banker. Yeah? All right, so we're going to carry on reading. Okay. Where does the tax money paid by ordinary people come from? It is given to them to compensate them for the time and effort which they put in when working. This is real money, your work, that is, backed by the goods and services provided by the people who do the work. This is something of real value, yet 80% of those valuable assets are taken from them by Mr. Government, yeah? HM revenues, all right? Yeah. Why do people let this happen? Because they think that they have no choice and will be put in prison if they don't. What they do not understand is that paying tax is optional. These are not my words. And they don't have to if they don't want to. And we went into this in the book. You don't have to if you don't want to. It was something invented for the Napoleonic War, by the way, 1799 in England. Mr. Banker is doing very well out of this. His brother is paying him lots of real money in exchange for fake money, which he invented. So he decides to expand his business and doing exactly the same thing to as many people as he can. He offers to lend people money, which he will invent and conjure up out of nothing. Conjure, in order to allow them to buy whatever they want. Submarines, helicopter gunships, warplanes, and aircraft carriers. Okay, we will skip the straw man here and just focus on the actual transaction offered by Mr. Banker. A house purchaser comes to Mr. Banker looking for a loan of £100,000. This is a deal on which Mr. Banker can't lose no matter what happens. So he will approve the deal unless he has some very, very good reason for not doing so. After all, it's not going to cost him anything, and he will be paid with real money gained through real work done by real people, not the straw man, you, the real man and woman. The deal is 17% interest per year for 25 years. Slavery. By the way, slavery is not over. Slavery is not over. Yeah? If the deal runs for the full 25 years, then the borrower may well pay back as much as £433,557 according to a professional mortgage, broke down that word calculator result. That is, you pay back 4 times, here's the scam, what you borrowed, even though what you were given was fake money, and what you paid back is real work-backed money. Now, if you use ChatGPT, people, you can go in there and you can, or even Google, you can go and see case law where people have beaten bankers in courts. If you want to take up that challenge, go and look at case law. Go and look at case law, quick Google search, a quick ChatGPT, and look and read case law. Yeah? And you'll see people have actually won. Okay, carrying on. But as Mr. Government takes 8% of what you earn before you get to pay the mortgage, you need to earn £2,167,785 in that 25-year period, as Mr. Government will take £1,734,228 of it away from you in direct and hidden taxes. Woo! And to add insult to injury, Mr. Government will give a large chunk of that 1,734,228 and give it to his brother, Mr. Banker. So we don't be fighting Keir Starmer. Go to the bankers. In supposed payment of the fake national debt. So the house purchaser pays several times the borrowed amount using his real money. And by the way, we're going to do a land presentation, how you can purchase land, because you know when you get a mortgage, you don't even own the brick and mortar, much less the land. You don't even own the land. It's a scam. It's a scam. Do we have any volunteers who would like to read? We're almost at the finish of this book, 11 pages to go. Yeah? Do we have anyone that would like to read? You can jump in. We will continue reading for just under 20 minutes and we get to question and answers. We do the quiz and whatnot and whatnot. But I hope everyone's good. All right, let's carry on. It gets worse. Mr. Banker and Mr. Government make sure that not enough currency is issued for people to be physically capable of paying the interest on their loans, as there just isn't enough currency in the entire economy for that to be possible. This is another cunning ploy. The people who earn most will not have a problem, but most people will have great difficulty and will have a very, very little left after paying their mortgage. The slightest financial problem, such as losing a job, can put the average person in a position where they cannot pay the amount demanded. So that's when you got to know your rights, man. Yeah? Things are happening because people are losing their mind because they don't know how to keep up with what's going on. But you've got to know your rights. This will save you what they call money. When that happens, it has to happen in a substantial number of cases. Then Mr. Banker tries to take the property, using some of his brother's statutes, rules, which are not law, to justify his theft. He may even manage to send in bailiffs. We'll go into that on the council tax, how you deal with bailiffs, ahead of seizing the property, and seize many of the house purchaser's personal possessions as well. We have people in our group who have beaten bailiffs when it comes to mortgages as well. What the house purchaser needs to remember is the original loan, listen, was fake, and that Mr. Banker never put up anything of value. This is what you can have this conversation with the banks who claim to lend you money. They got to prove it. The purchaser was never told the real amount which he would have to repay. A genuine contract was never drawn up. And in reality, go and check it. Those of you who've got loans and mortgages, go and check the contract. In fact, your phone contracts, go and check that. Go and check to see if you got a contract with your phone providers, people. You'll be surprised. Go and ask. Do it under a subject access request. You'll be surprised. Okay. It is not the human borrower which is being asked for repayment. Want to know what Mr. Banker thinks of any borrower? For the evil to triumph, all that is necessary is for good men and women, I'll add, to do nothing. Okay, so what is this? Let's look at this video if we can. Okay, it's not. Is it there? Is it there? Is it there? We just clicked in. Let's look at this video, if it will play for us. Thank you for all of you here in Zoom land and YouTube land. Thank you for joining us in book club. We're reading Meet Your Strawman. Stay with us. Okay, stay here. Okay, it's not doing anything. Let us know if you haven't got a copy of the book. We can send a PDF version to you at powerofconsent@gmail.com. That's powerofconsent@gmail.com. And don't forget, go ahead and subscribe to our page. Go ahead and subscribe. Thank you for those who've already subscribed. Please subscribe. We want to get 100 per month. We've got 37 subscribers. Before the end of the month, we want 100. All right, let's get back to business. Oh, okay. Did it come up? No, it's still doing its scrolling, buffering thing. Okay, all right. Why did the United States attack Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Yemen? And by the way, they are trying to get ready to attack Burkina Faso by accusing them of using resources for terrorism. This is their modus operandi, their mode of operation. Why are the US operation helping to destabilize Syria? Why is the United States government so intent in taking down Iran in spite of the fact that Iran has not attacked any country since 1798? Jeez. And what's next? What are we heading for? What's the UK heading for, people? Your tax money is going towards something. When you look at the current trajectory that we are on, it doesn't make any sense at all if you evaluate it on what we are taught in school, which is nothing. And it doesn't make any sense if you base your worldview on the propaganda media that the mainstream media tries to pass off as news, north, east, west, south acronym. But it makes perfect sense once you know the real motives of the powers that be. In order to understand those motives, we first have to take a look at history. In 1945, Britain, with an agreement, established the dollar as the world's reserve currency. That's Britain, which meant that international commodities were priced in dollars. Okay, the agreement, which gave the United States as a distinct financial advantage, was made under the condition that those dollars would remain redeemable for gold at a consistent rate of $35 per ounce. We have Clyde Lindsay, our gold expert, who teaches us that we must go invest in gold, man. People, I'm going to keep saying this. Get cash out of your banks, cash just in case a power cut occurs. You Bitcoin people out there, man, I don't know how you're going to make it if there's a power cut. We need tangible wealth. We need tangible, real money. So you want to get gold, you want cash, you want land. We're going to go into a land presentation soon in a few weeks. You want real tangible assets. You have to do this now. Also, I want to just say this real quick. Get plenty of water because they're talking about water shortages for summer. Yeah, make sure you stock up on food and water in your house, people. I'm telling you this, please do not be one of those rushing out for toilet paper should they announce another crisis or lockdown or pandemic. The United States promised not to print very much money. Yeah, this is called fractional reserve. But this was on the honor system because the Federal Reserve, private central bank, Federal Reserve refused to allow any audit or supervision of its printing presses. We asked for auditing from the Bank of England. In the years leading up to 1970, expenditures in Vietnam War made it very clear to many countries that the US was printing far more money than it had in gold. Inflation. In response, they began to ask for their gold back. This, of course, see, now we know why they're going after Burkina Faso. This, of course, set off a rapid decline in the value of the dollar. See, now we know that why there's a land grab in Africa, South Africa, and all those issues there with Donald Trump and all that. Zimbabwe, now we understand what the situation of Zimbabwe. They were promised the land to be given back to the Zimbabwean people at the Lancaster House Agreement, and that was forfeited, and that promise was broken. So Zimbabwe's president at the time, the Honorable Robert Mugabe, took back the land, and then they demonized him in the media. The situation climaxed in 1971 when France attempted to withdraw its gold, and Nixon refused. On 15th August, he made the following announcement. France is serious when it comes to colonizing countries in Africa. France are very serious. They take billions every year from Africa. See, I have directed the Secretary of Treasury to take the action necessary. See, he's under instructions, by the way. He was under instructions to defend the dollar against speculators. I directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except the amount in the condition determined to be in the interests of monetary stability and in the best interests of the United States. Remember, the United States is a corporation. Yeah, now we're talking about secretary. We're going to find out Rachel Reeves. Who does she really work for? All right? Okay. The secretary here. The chancellor, excuse me. This was obviously not a temporary suspension as he claimed, but rather a permanent default. And for the rest of the world who had entrusted the United States with their gold, liars, it was outright theft. When you're a thief, you're a liar. When you're a liar, you're a thief. In 1973, President Nixon asked King Faisal of Saudi Arabia to accept only US dollars. See? Bully boy tactics in payment for oil and to invest in any excess profits in US Treasury bonds. There's that word again. Birth certificate, bond certificate, notes and bills, right? Bondage. We broke it down last week. In return, Nixon offered military protection. So it's a mafia kind of thing, yeah? Racketeering. Protection for Saudi oil fields. Saudi Arabia, they've gone off now. The same offer was extended to each of the key oil-producing countries, and by 1975, every member of OPEC, yeah, go and look up OPEC, had agreed to only sell their oil in US dollars. Let's just quickly look up OPEC, real quick, people. I think many of us may have not heard of OPEC, yeah? We shall conclude the reading of book club. So, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. See? We've got the receipts here, people. Yeah? OPEC with a Saudi Arabian face on the front. Yeah? Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, UAE, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Algeria, and Oman reaffirm commitment to market stability on current healthy oil marketing fundamentals and steady global economic outlook and adjust protection. So Saudi Arabia, you have to wonder, they're Muslims. They're seeing what's going on in Palestine. Are they helping out the Palestinians with the genocide that's taking place there? No, because they're in bed, politically in bed with the United States of America and the federal government. Now we know how it works. They have struck a deal. Yeah, that's why they're not fighting back or supporting the Palestinians, because money is their God. They claim God, Allah is their God, but money is their God. That's why in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, there's all kinds of nastiness going on. There's slavery, trafficking going on there right now with many African women who seek work but are used as domestic slaves. As we speak, for those of you who like to go to Dubai and party and holiday, I've never been attracted to go there. So let's have everything in context. So now we know where it all comes from. Okay, OPEC has agreed to only sell their oil in US dollars. The act of moving the dollar off gold, meaning nothing. They're getting oil for paper. The act of moving the dollar off gold and tying it to foreign oil instantly forced every oil importing country in the world to maintain a constant supply of Federal Reserve paper. And in order to get that paper, they would have to send real physical goods to America. This is theft. This was the birth of the petrol dollar. We went into this. Paper went out, everything America needed came in, and the United States got very, very rich as a result. It was the largest financial con in recorded history. The arms race of the Cold War was a game of poker. This is why you got James Bond characters. Yeah? Let's talk about the Cold War. All right. Military expenditures were the chips, and the US had an endless supply of chips. Let me just quickly go and do Google search. How many military stations are there in the Middle East? And by the way, we broke down the word Middle East. Middle East came, Middle East is a thing that was invented. It was invented, like the Suez Canal, man-made. The US has at least 90 military facilities in the Middle East, with 8 considered permanent. Now we know why the military are there. They're working for the private bankers. These facilities are located in countries including Bahrain, Egypt, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and United Arab Emirates, Muslim countries, so-called Muslim countries. The US also has roughly 2,000 troops in Syria and about 2,500 personnel in Iraq. So we know now we know. Okay, right, see, stationed. US military expenditures surpassed that of all of the other nations world combined. The Soviet Union never had a chance. See, this is what's happening today, not 1991. The collapse of the communist bloc in 1991 removed the last counterbalance to American military might. The communist bloc was something by Russia. The United States was, that's why they've been at war with Russia, and they painted Russia as a boogeyman, by the way. Now we understand. See, the move of BRICS now, digital currency, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, Korea, and South Africa. Now we know why Trump is doing what he's doing in South Africa, because he's trying to reestablish power. That's what it is on the behalf of the private bankers. Now we understand. Unfortunately, there were those in high places who had other ideas. Within that same year, the US invaded Iraq, and in the first Gulf War, after crushing the Iraqi military and destroying their infrastructure, including water purification plants and hospitals, crippling sanctions were imposed, which prevented that infrastructure from being rebuilt. Zimbabwe, South Africa, Burkina Faso, I'm sure they're going to try a thing with that if they haven't already. These sanctions which were initiated by Bush Sr., OPEC, and sustained throughout the entire Clinton administration. I want to say Bush Sr. was head of the CIA. The CIA was responsible for a lot of crimes around the world, by the way. I want to just let you know, he's the director of the CIA. Go and check it out. Okay, lasted for over a decade and were estimated to have killed over 500,000 children. The Clinton administration was fully aware of these figures. Also, in America at that time, they were doing their school to prison pipeline industry complex as well, which is a business. The prison industry is a business. All right. A TV interviewer speaking on the Madeleine Bright, Secretary of State for Clinton, asks, "We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children that died than in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?" To which Madeleine Albright replied, "I think that this is a very hard choice. We think that the price is worth it." That's what this demon said. Yeah? I might even bring that up on the YouTube. See? Understand, and the UK are in cahoots with the United States of America. Miss Albright, what exactly was worth killing 500,000 kids for? In November of 2000, Iraq began selling its oil exclusively in euros. We spoke about this with Muammar Gaddafi and all that stuff. That was a direct attack on the dollar. Listen, this is very important. Whatever's attacking the dollar, that's war. And on the US financial dominance. And it wasn't going to be tolerated. World War III is coming. Yeah, and they don't want to bow down. They're going to fight. Yeah, now we know why. In response, the US government, with the assistance of the mainstream media, propaganda, began to build up a mass propaganda campaign claiming that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. Did they find it? No. And was planning to use them. In 2003, March 2003, the US invaded, and once they had control of the country, all sales were immediately switched back to the dollars, See? Follow the money, they say. This is particularly noticeable as switching back to the dollar meant 15% to 20% loss in revenue due to the euro's higher value. This is what they're using your tax on, people. Yeah, your council tax, your income tax. Yeah, to kill. It's no good just protesting and marching and saying we don't want war. You got to take decisive action. And you can only do that when you have the knowledge of your strawman, of your corporation, and of real constitutional law versus statute law. This is the solution here. You are and we are the solution. I'm not telling you not to pay your tax, but I am saying your tax is going towards this. I am saying and suggesting that we should all come together and challenge our local government and the private central bankers. Yeah? We should challenge them as one body. All right, let's carry on. It doesn't make any sense unless you take the petrodollar into account. What is the equivalent of the petrodollar in the UK? What is the equivalent? Let's ask Google, shall we? What is the equivalent? What is the equivalent? Don't watch my spelling, people. Don't watch my. Okay, I kind of got it. I'm still learning. Here we go. What is the equivalent of the petrodollar in? Excuse me. In pounds. Okay. Well, okay. Bring up. What I wanted to find out, what is the equivalent of the petrodollar in the UK? This is a quick study here, so we can make it relevant for us in the UK. Convert petrodollar to conversion rates. I'm going to do some more research. Petrocurrency or petrodollar. Okay, right. Let's just get back to the book and conclude the book. This part. Anyone that's got any receipts on what the equivalent is, then bring that onto the chat. Okay, we're almost finished. I think we'll finish this by next week. On the 2nd of March, 2007, US General Wesley Clark said, and they got this black general now that is justifying invading Burkina Faso. So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, Barack Obama, your black president, so-called black president. I said, yeah, he was a black president, but he wasn't a president for the people, in my opinion. In my opinion. I said, we are going to war with Iraq. And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He on his desk and picked up a piece of paper and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning from the Secretary of Defense's office. Today, this is a memo that describes how we are going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. They projected this. Starting off with Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia. And they brought out a lot of movies about Somalian pirates and terrorism, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. Let's take a look at these events of the past decade and decide and see if you see a pattern. In Libya, Gaddafi was in process of organizing a bloc of African countries to create a gold-based currency called the dinar. We went into this, which they intended to use to replace the dollar in that region. Business as war, US and NATO forces helped to destabilize and topple the government in 2011, under Barack Obama. And after taking control of the region, US armed rebels executed Gaddafi in cold blood and immediately set up the Libyan central bank. Yeah? Are we listening? Iran has been actively campaigning to pull oil sales of the dollar for some time now, and it has recently secured agreements to trade its oil in exchange for gold. Follow the money. Wherever the war is, follow the money. In response, the US government, with mainstream media assistance, has been attempting to build international support for military strikes on the pretext of preventing Iran from building a nuclear weapon. In the meantime, they established sanctions, which they openly admit are aimed at causing a collapse of the Iranian economy. We're going to stop there. We need to put sanctions on this government. We're going to stop the reading part there, because I promised you just half an hour. We need to put sanctions on the government. So I'm going to open up for questions and answers. I know there was one question on what is notion debt from Romeo, our young blood. Romeo, what is notion debt? I showed it earlier and I'll show it again, because this is something that we're not taught in schools. Yeah? So I'm going to, anyone that's got any questions or brief points, please go ahead and unmute yourself. And I'm going to ask you to keep the points brief. But that's what notional debt is, Romeo, in financial instruments, excuse me. Notional debt refers to the face value of nominal amount used in calculations related to interest payments or other obligations, but it's not actually the amount exchanged between parties. Mortgages, yeah? Think of it as the assumed or underlying value used in a contract, not the real cash involved. That's mortgages, that's loans. Notional debt. Yeah? Notional debt, people. All right, so just gonna look into the chat. Okay, so where we finished reading, sister, thank you so much, is at page 45. We've got 6 pages left. We will complete, hopefully we'll complete it by next week. So that's where we have concluded for now, book club. I'm now opening up the space for question and answers. You can go ahead and mute yourself. Please, if you've got any points, anything current that you want to point out. I know that there's been stuff in the news regarding Thames water, how it's been polluted, and how now people are saying they shouldn't have to pay their bill. Yeah, you have that right to challenge. I'm going to say challenge. I'm not going to say don't pay. I say challenge. Yeah, you have that right. We also, I want to let you know, we have videos on how you can challenge debt, how you can challenge claims as well. That's so important. All right. So again, anyone that would like to make a point or questions on what we've read or anything relevant, the floor is all yours. And in the meantime, I will get out the quiz so we can start quizzing. Please don't go quiet on me. There is a stand-down document. There is a stand-down document for the courts. Is that a question, Saknet? Is that a question or is that a point? Yeah, a stand-down. I want to understand what you mean by greetings.
There is a stand-down document now that they have given some people as sheriff who is working on people's behalf here in this country that is closing down certain departments.
Wow.
And there is so much more that I've learned, and a lot of things is happening behind the scenes.
Yes.
As we are aware, the courts and they has also changed names again. So they're not operating under Birmingham City Council or whatever council your borough you are in.
Yes.
I just want to implement something. You know that number that you had from the RIS on your CPR form, that if you did a trust, because everything has to be done under trust. Everything.
Yes.
You do your trust, then you do your RX1 form here and record it. Your trust and your estate. With that form that you get from the RIS, if you look at the back of it, it will tell you if you get it in a B category, a G category, or an A. That will tell you how you will operate. When you get that, you have to do something with it. Behind it is a check. If you have to ever look at it and that check, you activate it. There's something, and that's how you pay for your bills and your items. You got to get rid of using your EIN number. You got to stop using your NIS number and use your 98 number, which is your EIN number.
Wow.
Get your trustee to work on your behalf, a proper trustee who have been trained, or all people can be trained, and get a particular number to then go on to use these documents. Other than that, it will be frivolous filing. But for me, I am sure and I'm 100% it worked. I went in court today on behalf of someone because I'm the trustee for them. And we do have tribes. Now, if any, Courtney, if you want to have your own tribe, I can let you know how to go about it. Right? You can go under the Marapuri Nation. Under the Marapuri Nations, we're a very large nation. We have two parts of us. We have the African part, which will be under the Moors, and the Moors has claimed a lot of people documents as the trustee, and they don't know who is the main trustee, which we have found out.
Yes.
And you go under your indigenous, that may be under the Maroon, the Caribs, or the Arawak. These are
Wow.
the original people of the land.
Come on.
Before the Moors were here, the Moors were ones who controlled England. But before them, this island is known as Cheddarman's Island. So the
Right.
Cheddarmans, you have to take a claim on the indigenous warriors.
Oh my God.
Okay? So, we have gotten breakthrough. Courtney, when you get time, you can call me. And, I can give you things structured to put in place for your group. Okay?
Thank you
So
so much,
I'm not
Auntie.
talking no more. I'm not going to talk anymore because I had
Oh,
a hard day in court. There is documents soon for identification theft. So if you
yes.
have any court case and you need to report these things to the RIS because any things with the people who say in their government they're
Yeah.
doing identification theft, you got to do color of law. Those are all the documents. Remember the RIS, people are saying the RIS is not there. Yes, the treasury is still there.
Yeah.
I got message for there all the time. You got to have Courtney in order for you to work with the under the RIS, you got to do a 99 number. Just as there's a 98 number, you have to do a 99 number, and you have to do
Wow.
a 73. And that will
Wow.
give you authority to work
Right.
in
And real
court
quick,
in the courts.
and Auntie, real quick, Auntie, the IRS, a lot of people see it as being based in America. And what would it have to do with us here in the United Kingdom?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Mm,
The United Kingdom, everything is linked to the RIS.
yes.
It's linked because of their ITIN number, your EIN number, your what is this, gateway numbers. This
Yes.
is linked with Fidelity. Fidelity is linked with the treasury, the treasury. Everything
Yes.
that we do have treasury in our department. Our RIS is England. As you can see, England, everything they do is with your QSIP. Your QSIP is your bond number. So if you ask them for the bond number
Yes.
for the court case, that's
Yes.
worth millions. Like for people who are in my group, everybody get their bonds based on how much they work with their birth certificate. So if we have in any court case or anything, there's a way you write it because you can't play with it unless you're a trustee or a
Mm,
broker. And you write them telling them this is how much you're worth, blah, 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 under so and so law, you take it out of this. This is my payment for my case. This is how much,
right.
because that's what they're doing automatically, and they're going on your sesquivy. So once you have proof, the only way you can get proof is how much your birth certificate worth, how much your passport worth, or your ID card, your NHS number, all of them are worth millions.
Mm,
All right, and there is proof of it. Courtney, what will be nice is for you to get your QSIP and show how much you're worth, and then you can show other people,
mm,
and then you can go from there with your group. Okay.
mm. Yes. Yes. People, family, you heard from the Queen Mother yourself, you know, and yeah, sister, what the auntie was going into stuff, man. And I know, yeah, we will be booking our auntie. We will be booking, and auntie works very much not publicly. So I'm not gonna out auntie out anymore. But please, this is all recorded. Go and Google, go and chat GPT, go to the library, go and research. But we're going to go into why we need trusts. We're going to teach on why it's important to have trusts. And we are the Bill of Rights, the Bills of Exchange, excuse me, Bills of Exchange is something that we will be holding a book club session on because that is so important to know about the bills of exchange, because the bills of exchange talks about promissory notes. It talks about what goes into some of what real money is. And you got to know you are the money. We keep saying this. Never say you're broke. Never say you ain't got money. You are the money, people. All right. So has anyone got any points or any questions? Thank you, Auntie, so much, Auntie Segment. Any questions or any points? Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and we will love to hear your points. And in the meantime, I'm going to bring up the quiz. I'm going to bring up the quiz so that we can see what we have learned here today. All right. Thank you so much, Auntie. What you were saying there was deep. And that you can find a lot of that information in a book called Living in the Private. Please DM us at powerofconsent@gmail.com and I'll send you a PDF. powerofconsent@gmail.com. Okay, let's just crack on with this. Who's ready for a quick quiz? And then we'll call it an evening. Call it an evening. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, get ready, people. Let's see if we're learning. Remember, everything Auntie said there, in terms of the banks, the IRS, these agents on the behalf of the private central banks, understand how it works. Understand how inland revenue work. They are scamming you. They're scamming you. They're scamming us. Yeah? All right. Okay, so let's have a quiz to what we learned on this book, Meet Your Strawman. Okay, I'm going to ask questions. You can put your answers in the chat, people. Recap, we're going to go through all of this. Question 1. What is the straw man as described in the book, depicted in the book? Excuse me. As described in the book, depicted in the book above, which is Meet Your Straw Man. Yeah? What is the straw man? Is it A, a fictional character in the novel, B, a legal entity created at birth representing you, C, a government official, D, a type of financial instrument? Which one is it? Put the answers in the chat. I'm looking. So people say B. Yeah? I'm looking. It's a legal entity. Yeah, remember what Auntie just said, what we just read in the book. All right. Yes. So people say B, 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 B. B is the right answer. Right. The book describes the straw man as a legal entity created at birth, representing you in your legal and financial matters. This is foundational to know before you even get into the bills of exchange. It's foundational to know before we even get into the QSIC numbers, the Qu'est-ce trust, that's the French word for the birth certificate, 1666. It's foundational for you to know about the certified copy of entry, aka birth certificate. You've got to understand how it's been used against you so that you can use it for your benefit and become a beneficiary in your trust for your straw man. It's your creation. And there's a maxim of law that says, he or she who creates owns. We've got to create and own and benefit. Question 2, according to the book, why was the straw man created? A, to protect individual rights. B, to simplify tax collection. C, to swindle individuals without their knowledge. D, to assign social security numbers. We just said this. We just said this. QSET numbers, national insurance numbers, stop using that number to pay off things. Go into your private account. We're going to go into that. So what is the answer, people? Is it C, B, A, or D? Wow, people are saying B. Was that from the last answer? Okay, people, one says C, one says B. I'm seeing majority B though. Wow. Well, go on. Let me see. Some say A. So you believe the straw man was created to protect individual rights? Think about that. Think about it. Okay. B, 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 B. Okay. Some people say A, some people say D. All right, let's have a look. Dean, let's see if you're right, my brother. Let's see if you're right, sister. A, to protect individual rights. Sister Flash in the building. Yeah. Okay. The answer is C. Oh, the book suggests that the straw man was created to swindle individuals without their knowledge. So it was, in other words, mum and dad signed the birth certificate because they thought that's just what they need to do without question. Yeah? They were not given informed consent. They were not given full disclosure as to why they need to. They were not, the law wasn't, quote, our mothers and fathers, I doubt, asked if and why they need to do it. And me and Sister Flash attended a situation where we had to speak to a local government on the behalf of the sister who had a baby taken by social services, and they demanded that the birth certificate signed, and we used, because we understand the language, we used the language whereby we didn't co-sign to it. So once you know, you're free. Knowledge is freedom. Sorry, I read it. I thought you meant why was it created? Book was created. That's cool, sis. Okay, question 3. What is the significance of understanding the difference between legal and lawful? This is foundational. In the context of the book. A, they are interchangeable terms. B, legal refers to common law, while lawful pertains to statutory law. Think about it. C, legal actions may not always be lawful, highlighting potential injustices. See, what America's doing in the Middle East, is that legal? Is it lawful? Is it unlawful? Is it illegal? D, there is no significant difference. What is the significance of understanding the difference between legal and lawful in the context of the book? Huh? What is the answer? Let me have a look at the chat. Let me look at the chat. People are saying, Flashy say C. Mr. D Black B. Carol says C. So we all agree it could be C, it could be B, or maybe A. All right, let's have a look. Boom, boom, C, boom. The answer to question 3 is C. The book emphasizes that legal actions may not always be lawful, highlighting potential injustices. So when they use, I gave this example before, there's a woman who was a diplomat on behalf of the United States, came to England, and she killed someone in a road traffic accident. She hit them with a car, and she went back to America, but she couldn't be extradited. Legally, she couldn't be extradited because by law, she should be extradited because she took a life, even if it wasn't intentional. Injury, harm, loss. Don't cause injury, harm, loss. So what she did was unlawful, but they deemed it legal because she didn't or wasn't extradited back to the UK to stand before a judge. All right? Know the difference. Is it legal to pay council tax? Yeah. Is it lawful? Not really, no, because the law says otherwise. That's not my words, by the way. The law says otherwise regarding utility bills and even mortgages. But if you don't know, you're going to go along with what you're told. Okay, question 4. The book suggests that certain obligations are optional. Which of the following is not mentioned as optional? A, paying taxes. B, registering a vehicle. C, voting in elections. All right. D, attending court. The book suggests that certain obligations are optional. Which of the following is not mentioned as optional? Is it A, B, C, or D, people? Is it A, B, C, or D? Huh? Which is optional? Is it optional to pay tax, registering a vehicle, voting in elections, attending court? Which one is it? Nobody knows? C? Okay, we have one C. What do you think, YouTube family? What do you think it is? Have a think about it, have a think about it, have a think about it. You think it's C? Voting in elections. Interesting. Okay, let's have a look. C, I sailor went to sea. Okay. The answer to question 4 is C. All right. Well done to those of you that got it right. The book mentions paying taxes, registering a vehicle, and attending court as optional, but does not list voting in elections as optional. That's interesting. Yeah? All right. Why do you think that is? Huh? Because they don't really put no demands for you to go and vote. There's no demands. Yeah? But there's a demand to pay tax, there's a demand to register your vehicle, there's a demand to be summoned to court. All right? That's how I see it anyway. If anyone has a different point of view, you can interject. Okay. Question 5. How does the book propose individuals can reclaim their sovereignty? Sovereignty. A, by renouncing citizenship. B, by understanding and separating themselves from their straw man. C, by refusing to pay tax. D, by avoiding all government interactions. Which one is it? A, B, C, or D? Huh? And remember, we don't tell people not to go and pay tax. We don't tell people not to pay their tax over. We just say, go and get the knowledge. You make your own minds. Everyone says B. Do we agree with B? Or is it A? Shouldn't you renounce it though? Maybe avoid. Yeah, avoid. You should avoid all those letters. Don't write back to them. Shall we see? Let's have a look. Boom. B. The answer is B. The book proposes that individuals can reclaim their sovereignty by understanding and separating themselves from their straw man. We always tell people over here, when you get letters in the name that you use, that's not you. And again, I'm going to use just a little example from those of you who watch Sinners and those of us that know vampire stories and rules, that the vampire cannot come into the house unless you invite them in. That's the rules of the vampire or vampirism. Bailiffs can't come in unless you first give them, if they say, is Courtney there? You don't have to respond and give them the name and say, yeah, or confirm that's the name. Is Flash there? Is Asiatic there? That's the first rule. You separate yourself from the name. You don't have to interact with them then. You don't give them jurisdiction when you don't give them or admit to a name. As long as there's no crime, injury, harm, loss that's been committed. Question 6. The United Kingdom is known as a corporation. True or false? This is easy. The United Kingdom is known as a corporation. A or B? Is it known? Okay. All right. Let's have a look. Boom. Yep. The answer is the United Kingdom is a corporation. Hence, it is true. It's a corporation. We gave the example in the book where it says Mr. Banker, Mr. Government, the two brothers. It's a corporation run by the private central bankers under the guise of government. Keir Starmer, a former friend of Jimmy Savile. Sound Jimmy Savile's lap when he's a little bit. He also was the head of the CPS. Yeah, this man, Keir Starmer, he's got law degrees. Yeah, and works for the private central bankers, the corporation United Kingdom. Yeah, United Kingdom, formerly known as Great Britain. So therefore, they can invent rules and statutes to put us under their jurisdiction of commerce or admiralty, the law of the sea. Okay. Question 7. The United Kingdom is comprised of typo here. The United Kingdom is comprised of how many governments? How many governments are in the United Kingdom? A, 4, B, 3, C, 2, D, 1, E, 5. How many governments are in the United Kingdom, people? Some people say A. Mr. D Black says A. Carol says C. Let's have a look. The United Kingdom is comprised of 2 governments. So it's 2. One being the private bankers. Yeah, we said this, Mr. Banker. And the second are the selected political party, that currently being the Labour Party headed by Keir Starmer. So this is Mr. Government, working under Mr. Banker. Banks based in the City of London. City of London, you know, is a total different jurisdiction, totally different nation, in fact. Hence, they have their own flag. Hence why they have their own police force. They have their own mayor. Go check it out. Don't believe what I'm saying. They have their own version of the House of Parliament, Guildhall. Magistrate courts are registered under the City of London. So your magistrate court in Bromley, your magistrate court in Wimbledon, your magistrate court in Woolwich, if there's still one there, is registered as a company corporation under the Magistrate Limited in the City of London. It's very important to understand this when you're dealing with claims. Okay, I think that's it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen, family, that is it. And I just want to say to you all that we will be doing a Sinners Decoded night. We'll be doing a Sinners Decoded night, and I'd like you all to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. I will put it in the chat. We want to get 100 subscribers. We've got so much content we're going to upload, and we have guests, special guests coming on to speak to us. One of them, we got a guest who wants to speak on credit, how to clean up your credit, your straw man, your credit. We have the Auntie Sakmet, who one day, God willing, we'll come on a platform, maybe, and even if it's a private session, to talk about what the sister was talking about regarding these things that we need to understand, like how to, you know, RX1's forms, all of these things, stand down documents for the courts. It's a new term, I've never heard of that before, I must admit. Numbers, the IRS, national insurance, QSIP numbers, all of that. That is next level stuff. Hence why it's foundational for us to understand the straw man. Foundational for us to understand the straw man. So are there any questions or points that anyone would like to make before we relinquish the room? Please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please also, I will put in the power of consent email in the chat so that you can all email us. We've got courses coming. We've got live webinars coming up, special guests, and we will keep you in the loop as to what's going on. So I hope we've all learned from book club today and the importance of the international bankers. I think what I'll do is conclude by playing the rest of the video of what the minister said. Thank you so much, everyone.